All right, so here we are, another episode of My Friends Need a Role Model.
New role model of the Zoolander.
Yo, I'm like a role model.
We rappers is role models. We rap, we don't think.
I never had a role model.
You want me to be your kid's role model.
No role models, and I'm here right now. No role models to speak up.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to drown myself.
Bro, we watched all night last night.
You can be just like me.
We are the role models.
It is quite.
Unfortunately and fortunately.
But anyway, man.
We're not going to cut each other off while we talk.
You have a shelf life as an entertainer, right? And at a certain...
cut you off, bro.
Yeah, don't bumper sticker me right now.
It's fine.
So you in front of you want. Once I be off, you're done to me. You're dead to me.
Angie, what are you doing over there?
Oh, I'm ignoring you
She's
guys.
watching other podcasts.
This is gonna be good.
One thing I do know is that our friends need role models.
My friends need a role model. I think I'll play that role just fine. My friends need a role model. I think I'll play that role just fine. My friends need a role model. I think I'll play that role just fine. My friends need a role model. I think I'll play that role just fine. Life needs a role model.
Doug,
Ajada.
we're here.
We're here with
Zack Einhorn.
Zachary.
He's drinking straight orange juice,
My
ladies and
fucking
gentlemen.
original manager.
Your original manager. Well, that's a good segue into introducing our second guest, sorry.
Yeah, second.
Although, I guess that means Cam wasn't that memorable.
Yeah. But you're getting sloppy seconds right now, so.
But Zachary Einhorn is in the building. You may have heard us talk about him a bit on the podcast.
Yeah, we say things
We've
about my
mentioned
guy.
him.
He's a known
Usually that he's our white friend.
Yes. The whitest, the one. Whiter than you.
I say that. Like, I'd be like, my white friend Zach.
My white friend.
But don't let his whiteness fool you, because this man is a jack of all trades.
Walked in here with Billionaire Boys Club on and some off-white feet.
He did. He came through with BBC.
Believe
and
that.
this man has a rich history in the rap game.
Yes.
So for all y'all young artists out there, he might be able to school y'all.
Definitely.
And school people on other things as well. We'll see where this conversation goes. Zach, good to have you.
Thank you. Rich in the sense that I did a lot. Not rich in the sense that I ever made very much money in music.
Not rich in that sense.
That's true.
Yeah, we're still broke. Anyone that was signed in is broke.
That wedding says otherwise. We went to a real rich wedding in
That's
July.
true.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been working in music in a long time.
Zach, don't be afraid to hug that bitch.
The mic.
The mic, yes.
Yeah, treat the mic like
Just
you
get
love
right
home.
up on it. Get right up on it.
Treat the mic like it's Jackson.
Sounds good.
Zach, Tug, do you want to anything you want to talk to Zach about before we get into the nitty gritty of why we have him here? Or
I want to thank you, man, for
thank you for what?
believing in me from the minute you met me and pushing me to everybody you've
fast
ever seen
forwarding.
in your life.
Yeah. I had some bread on the studio tonight, but
That's
we
true.
couldn't pull that together.
Yeah, unfortunately.
After about what 8 years of how long has it been since you guys worked together officially? 6 years, 7 years?
like since the last time we've worked together.
Officially,
or-
like Zach was your manager, going around trying to get you features.
Nigga, it's been definitely 10 joints or more. It's been a decade at least.
No,
I mean,
since he stopped. No, maybe
I don't
I
know.
thought you meant since we first
no,
met each
since
other.
he stopped. Since the last time he worked with you. What do you
I
think?
don't know, 2012,
Okay.
2013,
7
maybe?
years, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
So my point was going to be to say that he then heard your new music.
Your hair was gray like the whole time, too.
His hair was great
Stop
back then
it.
too.
Right.
But
Yeah.
he literally said to me when he heard his new music, he said, "Yo, tell Tug I got him on a studio session because that's how
Yeah,
much
facts. So this
that's
is
how
about-
he felt about your new shit."
We're
So,
redoing it again. We're bringing it back. Dice Music, which was Zach's label, Dice Music.
Dice
Yeah.
Music Group. Zach, tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
Dice Music Group. Tell us about your your origins in hip hop and how you got into it.
Well, first let me clarify on that point. I think really more what it was is that
I thought you were
I
gonna say,
feel
well, I
like
got
Tug
bullied.
was. I felt like you were kind of like in a down and out moment, and I was like, hey, I want to get you back, like
Now
the
or
vibe
in
of things.
2012?
No. Like whenever I said like I want to take you to the studio, like a year and a half
Yeah,
ago,
yeah.
and you.
So you didn't really mean it or believe
No,
me.
I meant it. I wanted to get you
felt
back.
bad for
I
me.
wanted to help you like get back into a good place. But I'm not mad at all that like you're back in a good place now
yeah.
and you're getting your shit together and you're like looking for resources and you're like, all right, boom, like let me hit Zach up for that studio
yeah,
that he
facts.
offered me.
Yeah, like I forgot what
I'm
I
with
forgot.
that. Yeah.
I forgot what it was.
I like it. I like it in that context.
I think
even
we
better.
were talking, and I was like, "Yo, does that deal still stand about the studio?"
Right.
free studio
I like
time?
it. I like it in this context even better.
Yeah, Frackies.
Before you met Tuge, right?
Okay, yeah.
Before you met Tuge, you had already been doing music. You were managing artists and things like that.
Fuck that, my man spit bars.
So,
but by the way, there's background noise, and that's Dio. You guys may be familiar with him.
I have a
Tuge's
child.
son comes to all of our sessions.
Fax machine.
And he's chatty.
He's
But
actually
yeah,
the
so you were
manager of
managing
the
artists,
podcast.
you were managing producers, and you were in the rap game.
yeah, so really quickly, I guess like always wanted to work in music. That became, specifically hip hop probably when I was like in like junior high, and then like I rapped all through like high school and college, but I never really and made albums with original production, but never like took myself seriously as an artist. I always kind of wanted to be on the business side of things or like the creative, but not being the actual artist side of things. I met a producer named Jay Cardum when I was like 17.
J. Cole, shout out Majada.
Was really impressed
Actually,
with him.
Jay Cardum, the producer of our intro song. So
Facts
Yes.
machine.
he's
He did
still
that
in the
intro
fold.
song.
He's still our homie. He's still in the fold.
I'd met Jay Cardum and I'd worked with him with me being a rapper. I'd like bought beats off him for like a few $100, and then hanging out with him more, I started to become like friendlier with him. And I said, look, I'm going to college in New York next year. Like, maybe I'll try managing you.
This is when you were living in Boston, correct?
This was right, like when I was in high school. Yeah, when I was living in Boston. And then I moved to New York when I went to college in 2003. And the way we got the first placement we ever got in music was we went to see, this is kind of a cool story, we went to see Kanye West perform at SOBs. This is like when Through the Wire was first starting to blow up.
This is one of my favorite Zach stories.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
This
gonna
is like his
it feels like the
legendary
first
story.
time I hear it every time, so please.
And here,
continue.
this is not the like when I hung out, when I like chatted with Kanye.
I don't care about
That's
his
a
story.
That's a different story.
Yeah, tell that story. Don't tell this one.
Alright. So when I was in high school, in like 2002, I went to a Talib Kweli show at Irving Plaza.
There it goes.
And he brought Kanye out as like his hype man, basically, because Kweli had this record called "Good to You," and Kanye did the beat.
Only good to you.
Yeah, exactly.
I know every beat ever made.
And at the time, like Kanye, like had just first started to become like somewhat known as a name because Guess Who's Back, the Jay Z and Scarface record came out, and at the beginning of it, Jay Z says Kanye West on the track, and like prior to that, I myself and I'm assuming a lot of other people thought his name was Kane West, like from reading credits.
Yeah.
Anyway, like I went to this show and Kanye, like, he like brought him out for one verse, and like after the show, we were all hanging outside of Irving Plaza. Like, anyone who's ever been to a show at Irving Plaza knows that there's like the back door right around the corner where all the artists come out. And so, it's funny to say this now, but like, Kweli comes out, people mob him. Mos Def, who was a guest of the show, people mob him.
This was definitely 39 years ago.
How about this? This Buckshot from Black Moon, Duck Down
crazy.
comes out, people mob him. Kanye comes out. People do
Nobody.
nothing. No one knows who that is.
What year are we talking?
This is 2002.
2002.
So,
Wow. Okay.
So this is like, keep in mind, this is like, Kanye is at this time like the guy who produced Takeover, the guy who produced H to the Izzo.
Yeah.
This is
It's
like
just the world doesn't
this is a
really know
good,
yet.
This is like a good 9 months before he got into the car accident that he wrote Through the Wire about. So my friend Mark and we had just bought an MPC 2000, and so we were like trying to make beats, and we talked to him, and he was like, yeah, like the MPC is all right, but you really got to get the ASR. That's how you can chop the samples up more finely.
How'd you approach him though? You just walk right up to him? Like
Yeah,
no one was around him?
just walk right up to him. I was always really
Classic
like,
Zach.
Yo, that's one thing about Zach. He runs down on any artist.
I was not shy. Like when I was like, I'll tell you another one too. When I was like 16, I went to see the Jay Z. I forget what it was. I think it was called like the Blueprint Lounge Tour. He was like 10. It was literally 10 days after 9/11. Actually, that Jay Z freestyle where he's like, "I dropped the same day as the Twin Towers." Famous freestyle.
He met you. You gave him
did
those
that.
bars. And that's how he.
But he did that verse like in New York on this tour. Like this was like this is like after Takeover, before Ether.
Okay,
So like,
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole crowd is like, it's crazy to think like when you look back at those records, people forget that there was a good like 2-3 months between
Before
Takeover and
Ether came and ruined his life.
When Nas was like was dead to
Tired
everyone.
of
Yeah, I
this
remember.
shit, yeah.
I remember when he did Takeover and the whole audience doing like the lame part. And like,
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
looking at Mark being like, "This is Nas is like this is a
This is
nightmare,
Nas's Ether.
a nightmare situation."
Like, Nas
Zach
died.
Zach was like,
I
yo,
thought Nas died.
Zach was like, yo, Mark, I think Nas has been ethered, and someone heard that and gave Nas the
Yeah,
title.
exactly.
That's how
Because
it all
we
came
all
out.
knew what Ether meant
So
before Nas came out.
Definitely.
So now that we know how official Zach
Yeah,
is
yeah.
in the rap game,
You know what I'm saying? Now that we know he schooled Kanye on how to do samples.
Yeah.
I taught
But,
Nas Ether.
But anyway, so like this is a kind of funny story. So after that show, I'm 16 at the time. This is like, I'm like a junior in high
This is
school.
the 70s. Wow.
And I'm a junior in high school. This is 2000. 9/11 had happened 10 days before. And like Fabulous, I saw Fabulous on the street after that because Fabulous, his debut album dropped the same day as the Blueprints. This
Okay,
is like
yeah.
You Can't Deny It. Like,
yeah. This
Fabulous.
is,
And so
Two-way alert.
Yeah. Exactly. So I was like I was a huge Fabulous fan because like I like was a big like I was a big mixtape person. Like I used to
Of course,
like
all of us
DJ
were.
Lil
Right.
Wayne and Fab had
And
the
so
mixtapes on Click around
I was
that time.
already so this is like so I had like I was a huge Fab fan, and so like I rolled up on Fab and I was like I spit one of those like I rolled up on him and I literally spit back to him one of those like old beginning of the DJ Clue tape freestyles.
When niggas thought Fab
Like
was
a
Mace
old
type
one.
one,
No,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
an old one.
Like,
Like,
niggas thought Fab was Mace.
yeah, like, I don't know, forget what it was, but he was like shocked by it. Like I had no I was always
Nah, you
easy to
never. That's
approach
one thing I
people.
loved about Zach as a manager. Bumper sticker, not the bumper sticker you, but
Zach
had
had no idea
no
what bumper sticker meant, by the way.
No idea.
if you're not a, you shouldn't be on.
I thought that was like pause.
You shouldn't be on a podcast if you don't know what bumper sticker is. Bumper sticker is like not
Sorry
to cut
to
you
interrupt
off.
you. Yeah.
Sorry to
Because
interrupt
if a car
Yeah,
cut
yeah.
you off and had a bumper sticker that said "Sorry to cut you off," it would be okay. That's how that whole shit comes out. Yeah, give us our money. All right,
He gave you the scenic route to that
Facts and shit.
definition. But go ahead.
So
I'm loving all the car metaphors.
one thing, one thing
is
about
what we do,
speaking
Zach.
of cars, we got stories about those too with you, yo. But speaking,
I don't know if we want to get into that.
yo, but speaking of all of that. Like one thing about you, bro, that I always fucked with my job, I messed with. About you being sorry,
He didn't curse. He's not.
It's my professional episode.
I mean,
So,
he's Jewish in culture, not practice.
Okay.
So you
Yeah.
can,
All
don't
right.
worry, you can curse.
So word to my yarmulke, bro. Like one thing that I really liked about you always, bro, is that you had no filter. Like, and we would look at Zach like, yo, he's bugging, son. Like this white dude running down on Foxy Brown, like, yo, listen, Foxy, like, or whatever. And then I'm like, nah, he's bugging. But they gravitate to that. Like
can tell
artists,
'cause he's
artists
not-
will gravitate
I can
to
tell
that.
the Foxy
And you know what he taught me though. And I take that into my book. So
Yeah.
and that's a lot of the artists, like big artists, like relationships I have is really from that type of aura. Like be straight out. They're gonna remember. They're gonna notice you. They're gonna appreciate that. They like that type of aura. You know what I'm saying? Someone that's straightforward.
Yeah, well,
and someone that's memorable. You know what I'm saying?
Zach's, not this isn't offensive, but he's not threatening, and he's got confidence. So those things together,
And he has musical knowledge.
Yeah,
you know
and
what I'm
he
saying?
comes at you like eloquently, and you're not
and he
threatened by
spits
it.
a verse
so.
that you don't even remember you had. You're like, who's that again? Oh, that's me.
But a person, and typically you're kind of thrown off by that because a person that looks like Zach and acts like Zach, you wouldn't expect to just approach you with all that confidence,
Without handcuffs or something.
and then be like, hey, listen, I manage this artist, like, or whatever your pitch
Word.
was.
And then his artist be Tuge spitting bars at your
But
neck.
actually, I kind of wanted to pivot into that because I did want to talk a bit about how we can get into whatever you want to
Nah,
say.
you ain't gonna cut off my man's story though. I don't think he was fully
Is
done.
the story done? I'm sorry.
That's where I was gonna go back to the origin
Okay,
stuff.
now you can-
but I mean, it's up to you.
You can go into it. No, what I wanted to ask you was a kind of about that, like how you handled managing artists back then and what your approach was. But we can.
All right, but go back to the J. Cole Night
So-
Out label.
So
you know what I'm
because
saying?
I think this dovetails well, right? So like, so I went to see Kanye West at SOBs. This is like 2003. This is when Through the Wire was blowing up. Legendary show, had John Legend on stage the whole time playing violin. Brought Kweli, Mos Def, Miri Ben-Ari, the violinist that he used to roll with.
Yeah, I was about to say John Legend playing the violin. Like what?
John Legend was out here playing the violin.
He's playing the harp.
anyway, the opener of that show was Jean Grey, who's like an underground female rapper.
And your homie, right, as well, someone you're cool with.
Well, because of that. So I gave a beat CD to her A&R at the time. Well, I gave it to her, and then she gave it to A&R at the time, which is my guy Ruddy Rock, who does, he's the
I remember Ruddy.
He's still around, man. He's still like, he does a lot of stuff. He works with is it A Boogie? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, A Boogie with the hoodie.
No, not A Boogie with the hoodie. No. Not A Boogie with the hoodie.
Ace Hood?
Nah.
Please don't say Ace Hood,
going
because
through all
then
the
he's really
A's.
not
No,
still
not
doing
Ace
it.
Hood. No. It's damn, I'm forgetting.
We're on the letter A,
I'm
though.
forgetting the artist.
A.B.
I'm forgetting the
Adrian
artist's name.
Broner.
But he damn. Whatever. I'll think of this in a second. Is there another Boogie? Another?
No, not that
I don't know.
matters.
I'll think of it. Yeah. I mean, there's Boogie, the dude from the West Coast Boogie.
Yeah.
Who's nice, but no, I'll think of who this is. But
Okay, it doesn't matter.
He's Ruddy is like a music known like industry like
Yeah, he's
guy.
still
like,
Lydia.
He signed Wiz Khalifa to his first indie deal. Like he's the man. Ruddy. He like was a big part of like Baby Grand and iHip Hop.
I never knew that all the time that I knew Ruddy. Like him
Ruddy
fucking
used
with my
to be a
bars
model
and
for
shit.
Stussy. And that's how like he had the hookup with like
That's how you pronounce that shit. I thought it was Stussy all the time.
Like when I was 21,
Stussy.
Ruddy had me like in 10 June in like 2003,
Yeah.
like Liddy, like super, like Ruddy was the type of guy who walked past a line of people dressed to the nines in like dirty kicks and sweats and walk you right into the club. Like he was always super connected. But at the time though, he was A&Ring Jean Grey's album, and that's how I met Jean. Gene was the first placement we ever got. Through Gene, we met Talib Kweli.
You and Jay Cardam,
Me and Jay Cardam, and we got placed to be with Kweli. Also at that time, this is like all the beginning stuff, we met, I forget how we met Saigon, but we met Saigon somehow, and we ended up in Baseline.
The Saigon story.
We love Saigon.
We met, but I mean, this was kind of cool because we ended up working in this.
No, I mean later on, me and you Saigon story with Storm. That was common.
Wait, don't fast forward.
That's later, but
let's
go,
stay
go,
linear.
go. Stay where you at.
So that was already when Saigon had kind of expired.
Nah, he was already here.
Yeah, he was already done. Like in like.
So he's listening right now. Don't say expired. Say like he kind of just.
I mean, I fuck with Saigon.
I'm fucking with you. Go ahead,
Talented
continue your
guy,
story.
but yeah. So like, but the moment was like 2005, 2006 for him, And so we were like, that was like the first, being in Baseline, being around Just Blaze.
Yeah.
Saigon was like the guy at the time. It was supposed to be the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that was like really like the super beginning of it. And then like from there.
Well, how'd you connect with Jay Cardam, right? Because that was essentially, once you kind of tapered off your desire to be an artist yourself and you got into managing, you and Jay Cardam connected, right?
Yeah.
Well, so that's how this happened. So I was working with
okay.
Jay. So like to go back, I was like working with Jay as an artist. I told him I'm going to college out in New York. Well, why don't I try managing you? And then like I placed the Jean Grey thing, and like I think I forget how the Saigon thing happened.
Yeah,
that
but
was,
Talib
like,
came
that was a
before
thing.
Saigon, right?
Yeah.
Talib.
And then came like we did something with Little Brother.
Yeah.
And then like also a few of the artists that were like from Boston that Jay came up with started to make a little noise, like Terminology.
Yeah.
And then there's like, I feel like there's stuff I'm missing here, but like it eventually like I think ended up with like I feel like if I really had to describe Jay's career, it's really like he did a lot of French Montana's early music,
Right.
and
Coke Wave
then,
joints,
and a lot of like Joe Budden's like best material.
Yeah.
in my opinion,
I feel the same way.
So I think that those are like the two artists that Jay really like kind of put his stamp on, and then other than that,
then he got into like D Block and
yeah,
like,
and then like a lot of like
Locks, yeah.
like from there like it's like like there's a lot of like if you just throw all the names out there, like there were a lot of other things that happened that like are big names that weren't like that didn't like Jay's brand I feel like was like the French and the Joe Budden stuff, but like on top of that there were
he did like randomly produce for like
Yeah.
Mace, Ludacris, like
yeah. So like actually,
people like that
so those
too.
are like two interesting ones, right? So
Yeah.
like the Mace one's not that interesting, but like we did a record with Lil Wayne because we did this J Mills record called Holla at a Player.
Yeah.
That was a big just New York
Well,
record.
okay, so let's stick to that for a
Okay.
second. How did that even happen? How did the connection happen?
Sure.
Because I find this fascinating
yeah.
because I do think the eras are completely different. Like we're talking 2010 here or something
Right.
like that. So, and now we're obviously in 2019. So times have changed. I think producers are probably getting a lot of placements by doing everything online, approaching DMing guys, DMing artists and trying to.
Yeah, they wasn't running down like
Right.
So
The times are really different. So I'm really fascinated on how you made those connections.
Okay, so Jay Mills, I don't know exactly how I met Jay Mills, but I know it was going to.
But you were in the scene.
I know
is
it was
the
like
point.
in person.
Like
I know,
it was all.
I
in
know
person.
I met Jay Mills in person, and then but you gotta understand, like Jay Mills though, like when we met Jay Mills.
He didn't land the Young Money deal yet when you met him.
No,
right?
he was at so Jay Mills was at kind of like a low moment in his career when we met
in between
him,
the
right?
battle
he was
and
like
the
exactly
and
like
the
the
record deal.
DVDs
And the
thing
rap
was
and
like
shit.
kind of like not like coming towards the end. He was like already like and Jay Mills was like and the sad thing I think Jay Mills never stopped being this kind of artist, which is kind of sad. But like Jay Mills became one of those artists that like every time they drop a single, it was like, well, here comes the shot. Is this going to be the one? And all his records felt like that. They all felt
because before that was
they all felt like
no.
Sure, and that came naturally, right? And then he had like a couple record. He had a record with Wayne, Bring It Back, that didn't do anything. And he had a record with Scott Storch that didn't do anything. So I think what happened was
he had an interesting story because he had eyes on him in a way at the time that people didn't like. Diddy was like alongside him, but
that was also from
but he didn't
like,
sign him though.
Yeah, because
right?
that was from the battle rap world. The buzz he had, and then like Diddy did the Making the Band and had him come battle.
I know I'm speaking to Zach's point about like every time he put up a shot, people were like, "Uh-oh,
this is gonna be the one."
What's he gonna do with this?
Right, exactly. So I think like the Holla at a Player kind of came naturally for Mills, and it caught on. And around the time that was starting to buzz, Mills got signed to Young Money. Lil Wayne hopped on the remix. So we ended up getting.
So he landed a Wayne feature.
We landed a Wayne feature,
That's
and
great.
then like I'll tell you how the
mind you, this is like Wayne in his prime.
This is
like
prime.
This is 2007 mixtape Wayne.
This is Carter 3.
This is the best. This is the Wayne you want.
Yeah, this is Carter 3. It's Carter 3.
Carter 3 Wayne.
Yeah, and he raps just as much as Jay Mills on the record, and we mixed the record, so I have the session, and the session has like. I never knew what to do with this, and I never wanted to do anything.
Yeah, we're
with it 'cause it was
redropping it,
like
Wayne. You got to feature
because it was
with Tuge
disrespect.
now.
But there's like a good 8 bars in that session that no one ever heard. There's like alternate takes of Wayne's verse.
For my fucking album,
alternate takes of Wayne's verses, like Wayne's ad libs or comedy. I still have the session.
But wait, he said so. You get an entire Pro Tools session that has him laying bars down on different parts of the beat.
So I mean, I've never been in the studio with Lil Wayne.
Well, he records like a bar.
Sure, but usually, hold on, but real quick, but usually like, all right, this is your verse, like your verse of these 16 bars, and you lay it down. So you're saying he was just using the whole beat freely?
No. So I think so. I've never been in the studio with Lil Wayne, but my understanding of Wayne's recording process at the time was that like Wayne was just in the studio, like getting right, doing whatever he was doing at the time, and like he would just get in the booth and do it like
sipping lean, Zach. You can say it.
Like sipping lean, doing whatever. Like and he was going in the booth like Jay Z, like he was just doing it. Like he had some things that he wanted to do, and then he would kind of go off the top of the head.
Right.
And so like he clearly had an idea for all of this, and he kind of like refined it as he went. But he had like. There's like different parts, especially when they're trading bars and they're going 4 bars for 4 bars for 4 bars. Wayne and Mills, there's like different 4-bar parts from Wayne that didn't end up on the record. So that's how that came together. The Ludacris one is a different story. So Ludacris, what happened with Ludacris was, again, like I never met Ludacris. Actually, I did meet Ludacris outside of Def Jam once. And so this is like a good hustle story for you,
Def
right?
Jam South.
So this is a good hustle. This is a good hustle story for you, right? So this is like a great example of this. So every Wednesday I had no classes when I was in college. So I used to come into the city and we'd call it Label Wednesdays. Yeah. And Jay and I would try to set all of our meetings with labels on those days, right? And we'd have like a list of people that we wanted to contact, and we would just be badgering them because Jay Cardam interned at Bad Boy at not Bad Boy at what's the Bad Boy studio?
Daddy's house.
Pause. Interned at Daddy's house. And at one point had swiped this A&R list. So we knew all the A&Rs at all the labels. And so we would just be hitting them. And so we'd have all our meetings on those days. And then what we would do is we'd always go to this spot, and anyone who worked at Def Jam from like, or used to go to Def Jam in the 90s up till like 2005 knows about this spot. We used to go to this place called El Papacitos, Dominican restaurant right around the corner from Def Jam. I've seen everyone from I'll I'll tell you who put us onto it was fucking Black Rob. That gives you like a time. Like,
It's my son.
Yeah.
I've seen everyone from Lenny S to whoever in that restaurant.
That is my son. My son is budding on.
So we used to go to El Papacitos. We used to get our plate, and then we used to literally park across the street from where Def Jam was and wait until we saw people. No lie, I met Ludacris. I met DJ Clue. I met Jay Z and Beyonce that way. Walking
crazy.
in together. I literally handed Jay Z a CD and he J.Cole'd me. He said, I can't take CD unsolicited music from anyone.
yeah.
All right,
So,
Zach,
anyway.
I don't want to cut you off, but I want whomever's
Ludacris
listening to. I'm not going to lose the story. We're going to stay on it.
Okay.
But I'm saying that I want people to realize that I mean, at least to me, it's fascinating how hand-to-hand hustle, how hard you had to go and be in people's faces in order to get your shit heard.
Yeah, facts.
And I don't think it's the same way nowadays. And we're gonna jump into the
It was
music scene
heavy
today.
guerrilla marketing. Like that shit
Well, of
doesn't
course,
exist
this shit
anymore.
makes it easy. Like, it's funny. Like,
I don't want to fast forward too much because we're gonna get to that, but I just want that to not be glazed over. Like, we need to understand that Zach was hustling. He was pulled up like he was about to sell. He was pitching beat CDs like they were packs of drugs.
Yeah.
Like
He
for
was
real.
like Master P
but
off
like
the
you know,
trunk
like
type shit.
that's the game right now, and like it's frustrating, right? So it's like like sneakers is a good like example of this, right? Like I wasn't into sneakers for a long time. I was into sneakers a lot in high school and college, right when I got out of college, and I wasn't into them for a while, and I'm really into sneakers again now. And like the game has changed, and it's changed in that exact way. Like it's too easy now. You know what I mean? It's too easy to jump on these resale markets and like and this shit gets like the prices get bumped up. Like at the end of the day, like like the way that I used to buy sneakers in high school and college, and like I'm sure the same way you guys did, is like you knew when shit was coming out, and you'd get up and you'd go
be there.
and you'd
them
wait
shits.
online, and
Yeah.
you'd be waiting online with people that were just like you, and you go get them shits, and you would and you likely even if you had to cop them secondhand because they sold out, you'd never pay these prices that they pay now.
Hell no.
The only reason that people pay these prices now is because everyone who's like a armchair sneaker head, you know what I mean?
Order like 20 of them,
Can
100
order
of
like
them.
20 of them online.
Word.
Like the only reason that they're off whites that cost $1,000 is because they're 16-year-olds with their parents' credit
Yeah.
card that are
Ordering all of
that
them.
ordering all of them shit, who don't have the patience to go downtown and wait.
Yeah,
And-
just like the
and
Yeezys, when they come out, it's like
and
$200.
it's the same
you know
thing.
what
It's
I'm
like
saying?
you're not grinding, sending a million DMs to people. Like you have to pop out. You know,
Yeah,
if anything,
facts.
that's probably more important now because you want to separate yourself. I would imagine.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that the value of what you're doing it adds more value to what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like sneakers back when they were harder to get, where you didn't have to have a bot to get them for you.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
like to me at least the story's better, right? You camped out
Yeah.
for those. So the game's been diluted.
Or
I
you-
did,
would
I did
just-
win the sneakers raffle for the Travises. Though,
Yo,
2
by the
weeks
way,
ago. I do have to say, I won. the
Or you
sneaker
just like
raffle
so
for the
on deck
Travises.
that you know when that release is happening.
draw.
So you jump on them right away because you know your sneakers, so you know what's gonna get lit.
Right.
What, you know what I'm saying?
It was
What's
more
retro,
exclusive
what's not,
then.
you know
It
what
was
I'm
definitely
saying?
more exclusive. You weren't a poser.
Yeah.
If you had it, you were authentic.
Yeah.
But I do want to say before we go to the Ludacris story again that I feel like Zach was queuing me up to state that he has off-white Air Maxes on. And
On his feet. I think I said that in the beginning though.
Oh,
now
he
you're
does?
giving him
okay. And he's got the tag still
Is,
on,
it,
man.
is the zip tie still
You
there?
gotta
Yeah.
keep this.
Do you remember?
Oh,
do you remember how hard he was going that one time to
Yeah.
ask
Have
us?
to.
We went to brunch and he was like, I don't know, man, should I put it back on?
No, because he had the zip tie
Because
off.
90 was like
time.
shaming me for having the zip tie.
No, you
on.
have, bro. That's what separates.
You have to
them.
keep the zip tie
The
on.
tongue and the zip tie is how you know they're off.
Yeah,
white.
his wife.
So-
His wife basically was shaming him for keeping it on, so he took it off. He came to brunch, and his off whites didn't look like off whites. I'm like, what is
Yeah,
this?
it's not
Off
like
whites were off.
Yeah.
them
What
shits
are these
was off.
fugazes?
They were off and you were just looking white. Like you know, it's not like when you you keep a sticker on your Yankee hat. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing, right?
Well,
it's not a tag.
Well,
Yeah,
two-
it's not a tag.
what do
they
two?
can't. They had a tag.
What do two negatives make? They make a positive. So
make a
off
positive.
whites were on whites. That's whack.
Yeah.
Who wears on whites?
Yeah,
Word.
exactly.
That's terrible.
Yeah, they're on whites.
Anyway, get back to the Ludacris story.
So the Lucas story is really quick. It's really quick. It's not really a story. So like,
Also, he hustle and flowed you. It was real quick. He
yeah.
Terrence Howard you.
No, so like the Luda story is quick. Like I never met Ludacris or anything like that. It's just like it's kind of a cool thing that like Jay did that Jay Cardam did. It was like this came through I-20. Like we'd met I-20
my son, I-20
and we'd given
that.
I-20 of Move Bitch fame.
Sounds like a chop and screwed
I know,
record, but
so-
regular. Just
Bro,
so
he
I-
was named after an interstate.
yeah.
So
that's
I-20
funny.
I guess I-20 had been playing these beats in the studio, and Jay had this beat that sounded very like West Coast, and Luda heard it, and Luda at the time was ghostwriting for Dr. Dre for Detox, for the Dr. Dre album that never came out. And so Ludacris, you can find this on YouTube. It's actually really funny. It's called OG's Theme. Ludacris OG's Theme. So Ludacris wrote a 3-verse song on a J. Cardin beat, rapping as Dr. Dre.
Yeah,
and so
I remember.
the record ended up leaking, which I was mad about at the time because I was like, "Damn, we almost had a beat on
Dre.
We had a beat on Detox." But now since Detox never came out, I'm kind of glad it did come out.
Yeah. But am I bugging or
we had another one though too.
You had the
another
old
one
Dirty Bastard record too.
So that's
when he was Dirt McGirt.
That's different. So okay. So we didn't actually have. So this is another thing, right? So like when Dame Dash had Dame Dash music group DDMG
like that.
had Dame Dash
yeah.
music group. His A&R was Clark Kent, and I wasn't at this meeting. Jay Cardin went and met with Clark Kent, and Clark Kent said we're working on the ODB album and we're like remixing all of them, and he gave us the acapellas, the entire ODB album, the entire posthumous
Jay
ODB
made
album,
some shit.
and then, like, I mean, this is like funny style music industry shit that, like, I think was probably like below board, but we did it. Like, we did a few records, and like the DDMG shit situation fell apart, and most those records got leaked anyway. So when it was time for Jay to put his compilation out, we were like, fuck it, we're gonna we don't like the way any of these ODB records have come out. We're just gonna do our own version of them.
Facts.
And we drop them. So we dropped 2 ODB records, one with Ludacris
I
and one
remember
with
that.
And one with Noriega.
Yeah, and
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I remember there was one with Ludacris on it.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That wasn't even the record I was thinking of. I was
Jay
thinking
just
of
put that together.
I was thinking of OG's Theme, which you really should YouTube so you can hear Ludacris imitating Dr. Dre for 3 verses.
I
Which is
heard that. I
hilarious.
remember that shit.
Hell yeah!
And then
Some
I remember
weed,
that
palm trees. I'm the original gangster.
So Zach, let me ask you this, right? So then you and Jay Cardin together under the label you created called Dice Music Group. You guys put out one like compilation album. Two. What was the first one? Because I know I got involved with the In Crowd. So what was the one before
Your favorite rapper?
And by the way,
rapper.
Your favorite
rapper's
Oh,
favorite.
it was that was on the white backdrop.
Yes, your favorite
right?
rapper's
Yeah.
favorite producer, and we got XL and Double XL, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't a double.
It was not a double XL, but it was an XL, which was fire. But that was not even like the funny thing is that was like a compilation of records that were already out. Like there was actually one original record on it.
But what was the scene then when you were putting like records out? Was this pre-blogs? Like who was like how were you dropping these records?
So these were so this is like your favorite rapper's favorite producer came out in 2009, and so these were all songs that were like from Mixtape. So this was like Holla at a Playa, like the Mills and Wayne. It was like French Montana, Straight Cash when that record first came out.
Yeah.
It was like all of these records,
Which is
that
one
we
of my
had done.
Jay's like one of my favorite Jay records.
It had Starstruck on it.
My joint, yeah, I was on
Yeah.
that.
It had like a couple records we had been doing with Cassidy at the time. I'm like blanking on what else is on that. Little Brother is on.
People
there.
can look it up, right?
People can look it up. It's
out
on
there.
like Dat Piff or something like that. It's not on streaming right now. I pulled both of those off streaming because we had bad deals for those albums, and we weren't even getting royalties. So I just had them both pulled off. We may re-release them,
Cool.
Maybe, but I don't know. So the only original that was on that was this record called "Play with My Dough." It's actually kind of funny. It's like not a very good song, but it's called "Play with My Dough." It's Red
What do you
Cafe.
mean original? Because they were all original.
They're all
It was
original. Well, no,
yeah.
these were all songs that had been out.
Yeah,
Sorry, the only
my song was
exclusive. My fault.
exclusive, yeah,
the only
yeah, okay.
exclusive we had was a record called "Play
Jay
with
was
My
stealing
Dough."
beats, and then he was
It
like,
was-
"Yeah, just rap on this," and I
was,
was
just rap on
I'll put my tag on it.
It was a Red Cafe record.
Who else was on it?
And it was featuring Mims,
Yeah.
which seemed
Whoa.
like so it's kind of funny, right? It was a Red Cafe record, and Red Cafe was signed to Akon at the time. It was featured Mims, who was like fresh off of This Is Why I'm Hot.
This Is Why I'm Hot,
So
yeah.
like he was fire, but it also featured this other random go-go rapper from DC named Wale, who we were like not really feeling the verse.
Yeah.
We didn't really get his flow. We were like, maybe we'll take him off the record and put one of our artists on it.
Right.
And then of course, time tells, Red Cafe. I think he still writes songs.
Wale became
Mims
God.
is nowhere.
Red Cafe
and,
started writing for Diddy and Mims.
yeah. Well, Red Cafe. So
Works at a
I don't
gas
know.
station.
Does what has Red Cafe done for? I mean, I know Red Cafe wrote "Past the Cavassier" for Diddy, but I don't know what else he ever wrote.
Yo, that's kind of
Okay, so then fast forward just a little bit. Okay, go say your joke. Say your joke.
No, it's just something. It's a story, but it's not that long. But it's comedy.
So go ahead. I want to laugh. I like laughing.
I'm in Villa de Brazil Cafe in Queens, like by the studio, or whatever.
Stay on mic though.
And Red Cafe pulls up in there. Yeah, so I'm like,
If only
son,
the
you
cafe
remember-
was
I really,
painted
like,
red.
I love Red Cafe.
Then it would have been
He's like-
crazy.
Yeah.
I really fuck with Red Cafe. Like he's one of the nicest
Nah,
guys.
he's a
ever
cool
met the
dude.
music. And
'Cause
I think
I'm like, yo,
got
Red.
an ill flow.
I'm like, yo, Red, what the fuck you doing in this cafe, my nigga? And he's like, yo, he starts dying. He's like,
What you
"Yeah,
doing in
that's
this Red
I'm like,
Cafe?"
yo, son, you working with my man J.Cole? He's like, yeah. He's like,
When
I'm
was
like, yo,
this?
Tuge. He's like, yo, I remember you.
Years ago.
He's saying
Years ago.
he's saying he remember me, but I'm like, bro, you don't remember me. There's no way you remember the name Tuge. Tuge is mad random.
Probably
Maybe
met
you do,
you,
because it's the
though.
only Tuge on earth. Yeah, but when I said that, he just started dying laughing, bro. He was like, yo, that's comedy.
He's
He's
a
like,
good
I'm in the
dude.
studio, pull up, man. Da, 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 type shit. He was in the studio next door to the
Red
To
Cafe.
the Red Cafe, yeah.
Yeah.
He was in a Red Cafe.
But so now after the Red Cafe record,
And he pulled off in a little red Corvette. Go ahead.
yeah, little red Corvette with
ahead.
it said cafe on the side. All right, so
Hey,
after the Red Cafe
Laugh
record,
at my jokes.
No.
so after the Red Cafe record, what was there any other records on there that was crazy? I know there's part 2 to that as well. That same compilation, right?
No.
So okay, so then
Right. So the next step, the next album you guys dropped was The In Crowd.
yeah,
correct?
so that was like a couple years later. So like the In Crowd was like when we were trying to do more of a like more originals.
And
so I think
also with your own
more
artists,
than-
other
yeah.
than just me.
Exactly. So this was like 3/4 original records. Like there may be one or two. Exclusive
Like,
records.
like
they're
they
all
came out as an
original.
album.
Yes, they're all
They're all
exclusive.
original,
Of course,
man.
Jay
All
Carter
original.
produced it all.
But
yes.
but they
Shout out to J. Carter again.
had a
That's my
few
guy.
more exclusives, and you know, we had the single was French Montana, Styles P, and Tuge with Mass Pike Miles
I bodied
hook.
that.
on
Yeah.
it, and then we had another single called Hood with
Chic.
Joe Budden, Chic Luch, and Sha Stimuli.
Right. So all right. So before the podcast started, you were telling us something funny about
Oh
that
yeah, yeah.
record.
So like 2 weeks ago on Joe Budden's podcast, he has this section of the podcast called Sleepers, where each one of the hosts picks a sleeper record, like I guess a record that they feel like is slept on. And Joe played Hood, and he was like, yeah, that was Sky Zoo featuring Joe Budden, you know, featuring me and Chic Luch, and you know, like. You know, it's not Sky Zoo. It's Sha Stimuli.
Yeah.
My guy, you know, Sky Zoo, cool dude, also from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
They
It's
do
easy.
Zach, by
they
any-
do stuff together. I think you know it's
They're
easy,
underground. They're
easy,
more like
easy to confuse them.
Yeah.
that record was
I mean,
called. That record was called The Hood 2.
Hood 2, yeah.
Right.
So
Who did? Was there a video for that?
There was a video for that
yeah.
that Dan directed.
Oh, that I directed.
And it was
Okay,
funny
yeah.
because so I like, you know, so I'll tell you two parts of this. So one when they played the record, at the end of the record, Joe says, "Zach, what up?"
Mm-hmm.
And when they played the record, they played that part, and in the background you can hear Maul saying, "Zach, what up?" And so like Sha Stimuli had written on like Twitter, like, you know, face palm to Joe Budden, and Joe Budden was
By
like,
getting
yo,
forgetting his name wrong.
and
Right.
Joe Budden was like, yo, I'm so sorry, Sha, I owe you. And
Matthew was like, yo, I'm so sorry, Scott.
I replied to that thread and added Maul and Rory, who I
was the
don't
other
think
guy?
I've ever met Rory.
No.
I think he's like after my time of
Yeah.
being friendly with Joe Budden. I'm sure we'll talk more about Joe
That-
Budden, how
if
this
we
my,
want.
my
But go ahead.
my BFF Joe Budden, my
Yeah,
former-
y'all made
former
out a
BFF.
few times.
That's my guy. Listen, man, I introduced everybody from Low Key, Marissa Mendez, all to Joe Budden.
Wow.
Wow, you're
Wow.
great, Zach.
He's so cute.
You're so
man.
talented at
Yeah.
introducing people.
So
and me, you introduced me to Joe,
I did
and I did
introduce
his
you,
little
and you did his-
music.
and you did
You
his
didn't
smooth
introduce
music.
me to him, but you played him my shit, and he was like, "Yo, he's nice, but he shouldn't say like I'm the greatest rapper of all time because it makes him have enemies." So I remember
What's
that.
funny is about Joe, real quick, let me digress, but what's funny about Joe is I did, through Zach, I ended up in the studio with him for a few weeks, and I did the trailer to Mood Music 4.
yeah.
That Jay produced that whole album.
Yeah,
mixtape,
Jay
right?
produced a lot of it.
Yeah.
So
I
Jay,
mean, the
so
good
we
shit
were,
on
we were
it.
all in the studio for like at least I was there for 3 weeks. I did a trailer for that, and I also did a docu-style, like 15-minute making of the album sort of piece.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever, I was around Joe for a while, and then, man, I'll say when was that? What year was that? 2011 that came out? 2010?
Something like that,
It was like 2010.
2010.
And
Yeah,
then
it's a while ago.
2016, he comes to Complex to start doing Everyday Struggle. And then somebody, like the producer of Everyday Struggle, taps me and is like, yo, we want you to shoot the promo. We want you to like direct the promo pieces for the show before it comes out. So then I work with Joe again, having not seen him for 5 years. And then when I say what's up to him on the shoot day, I'm like, yo, what's up, Joe? What's up, Academics?
He's like, what up with my bass at?
No. And then I go, yo, we worked together before, and he was like, yeah, Dave, right? And I was like, nah.
Yo, he's the king of fucking Dave.
I was like, nah, it's Dan. And he was like, yeah. And then we just started chopping up a little bit, and then we got to work. So,
but I mean, for 5 years,
Joe
give
don't
the nigga
know
some
me.
credit. At least he got the DNA right. Like 5 years is a long time.
No, it's true.
Cool. Yo, and speaking
But anyway,
of that,
I replied to that.
Speaking of that, hold on. Whatever happened to my record with Joe?
No, that got cut because you ended up doing the record with.
And then me and CZ
with
traded
French.
places,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
But then y'all didn't even put the CZ record on the project.
CZ Records on the project.
It is. The shit with Joe is on the project, yeah.
It's on the
On the
project.
In-Crowd. Which is not out, right? That you can't find the In-Crowd mixtape or the album anywhere, right?
It's on that. It's like, again, like it's not on. We took that off streaming because it was through Amalgam. It was
So
like
what
a
did y'all
bad
do? Like
deal.
press delete on my verse, or is it still like?
Also,
I have the version with you still.
I want to hear that shit.
I'd love to hear it. We can drop it one day on the podcast.
We'll drop it one day. We'll
I
have
gonna
a slept
say?
or we'll have a sleeper.
The sleeper.
Anyway, so I replied to the thread that Sha added him on, and I was like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Zach of Zach What Up fame. It's been a while. Like, what's good?" No one replied to it. But it was funny though about the video though, because Sha posted this to Instagram. Sha posted this to Instagram also, and I was like, I wrote in the comments, I was like, I put this record together like my proudest moment in hip hop, like and Sha replied, he was like, "It's all because of you, bro." And I was like, I just drove by because I was headed to JFK. I was like, I literally just rode by where we shot the video,
right?
A couple.
Just made you shed one tear came down.
One tear came down.
Do you remember when we shot that
tattooed.
video? It was really touch and go whether or not Joe would show up for the shoot.
Well, that was a different day, right? We shot Joe and Sheik on one day, and we shot.
Yeah,
Sha
wasn't
on
y'all
another
like
day.
some shit with trucks?
We shot.
and shit? Y'all
We
was, like, in
shot
the truck
Joe. We
stations?
shot Joe.
Yeah, it was like in Long
and
Island
Sheik in
City.
Long Island, or Astoria, really.
Yeah.
And we shot
Shot in Brooklyn. So, but what ended up happening was, I don't know who was producing. You were there too when
Sheik wanted to sign me.
Oh my god, that's
Remember,
hilarious.
Sheik was like, "Yo,
I have that video."
Thank God you didn't sign.
I'm bringing you
Sheik.
he was like, "Yo, I'm bringing you to Jada Kids Styles right now."
bro,
like,
I literally
nigga was trying to take me from the. He was trying to
You
kidnap
could
me
be
from the video
Bully,
shoot.
right?
No, Bully
he
was
had
there.
Bully was
there at the shoot.
I would have
about to
bullied
fire
Bully.
Bully and hire
I would have
you.
bullied Bully.
Bro, hold on. I have a video. Where Tuge is rapping for Sheik, and then Sheik turns to the camera because actually, you weren't rapping. You were playing him a song and rapping
I was
along
rapping
with it.
That
and then
pay-per-view shit. I
Sheik
believe.
turns the camera. Sheik turns the camera, and then he goes, "New Tuge, D Block, the new member D Block." Going hard and Bully's right there looking
To
at
him,
sad.
it happened right there. Like,
Yeah,
he was like, "I signed him
Tuge
right
is
there."
actually signed to D Block right now.
right
I don't know if you realize this.
Yeah.
Yo, he was like, "Oh, I can't wait to bring you
Because
to
you know
Jada
what it
Kids
was?
Styles."
Because then he dapped you, and then he wrote, "That's a handshake deal. That's legal in the state of New York."
Yeah,
So
word.
you're signed to D
Yo,
Block.
then he kept going. He was texting me, going hard. But then I was loyal to y'all niggas, and nigga, he was like, you Dice Music, man.
Yeah.
I was like, facts, I'm Dice Music. Like, fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Wish I would have left with Sheik, but I mean,
You could be Millie's.
word. But it depends on I could have took that shit to another level possibly.
Yeah.
But where I am now, I'm happy with where I am now.
So
fuck it.
Zach,
What's up?
years removed now from you being in hip hop.
Yes.
Right, and your life
We're
took.
done with hip hop. Okay.
I mean, we could talk about hip hop some more if you'd like.
I mean,
But-
if you have more, where's your? Have you had any more accolades? Like any more important?
yeah,
really.
just sing your own praises.
Not really.
Oh, by the
give
way,
yourself
while
a-
we're singing praises, sometimes you got to toot your own horn when there's no music, but the In-Crowd mixtape was named by. Who was it named by?
You guys, you name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, us.
You named-
Yeah,
that
was
was
the
me.
end crowd. The name of our clique was the end
Tug
crowd.
had a crowd called. Tug had a song called "The In Crowd," and I was like, "Bro, that's
To be fair, though, we recorded that record together when you were in Worcester.
I know, but then I
Yeah.
called Tug when I hadn't even met Aries yet. I called Tug, and I
That
said,
was our first conversation. Was me being like, "Yo, man, I didn't mean any way by us naming this album the In Crowd."
That's how you and
That
Dan
was our
got
first
cool.
conversation. Because
Word.
I thought
But Jay ran it by
thought
me
Dan
too,
was
though.
that other kid Dan that you used to roll around with, like the little skinny Dan.
Oh, the Goon Killer kid?
No, this is the
definitely.
Goon Killer kid. That
Yeah.
Dan was like not a goon.
What Dan? I don't have
There was like
no
a
other
little Dan, a little white dude named Dan.
What? Ooh.
yeah, he's not.
I met him at like Pewter Crib once. Is he still
Pewter
around?
Crib.
Computer?
Zach's. One thing about Zach, I've brought him in the bottom of the ghetto. This nigga will go anywhere for me, son. And come check me, bro. Anywhere. This nigga standing outside on the block where a nigga just died. Just chilling, like
just
eating noodles, eating oodles and noodles.
Yeah, eating
like,
oodles
for
and
no
noodles.
reason.
He's standing in a crime
in
scene.
the blood puddle of
in the crime
nigga's
scene.
blood.
He's like, "Oh, am I tampering? I'm sorry, officer."
Yo, but yeah, I don't know what Dan that was.
No, I don't know who he's talking about. But he probably thought I was someone else because this is before we
definitely
met.
His name definitely wasn't Dan.
He was also like a video guy.
No, he wasn't. I was the first video guy that Tuge ever knew.
This nigga is who you met that
Hey,
day.
man.
Dan was just skinnier.
No, it wasn't this Dan. It was another
Before I
Dan.
started lifting.
It was another Dan because I remember when I clarified this with you, you were like, "Oh nah, this Dan will wash that Dan."
It might have not been Dan.
I don't know you're doing. It was definitely named a guy
You know how
named
many
Dan.
blunts I've smoked and drugs I've taken since then? I
No,
couldn't.
bro. I'm telling you, I haven't done any drugs, and I know there was no other Dan. It might have been another white guy that he was
No,
around.
his name was Dan. It was another kid named Dan. I'm telling you.
All right, now I'm getting
You know
jealous.
what?
I
I
promise
think
you.
there was,
I promise you.
I think there was a kid named Dan. He wasn't like my close friend like that, though. He
But he
wasn't
was just
my
like a
jada.
video dude. He
just
was mad like emo-y. I think he had like a
glasses and like
an
bangs.
eyebrow ring or something like
Oh,
that.
I don't shit what niggas about. Now you're bugging.
But anyway,
yeah, the tongue ring too. I don't-
point being, if to fill any like gaps in the storyline, that's how it all came together. Zach started managing Tuge. I was Tuge's boy who was
and the
trying.
the way I met to the way I met Tuge really quickly.
Yeah, you can talk
Yo,
about
that's
that.
ill
I'd
story.
love to
Yeah,
hear
so
about
okay,
that.
so the way I met Tuge was so in like right around the time that we were doing like J Mills, How Out of Play, and Wayne was getting on it, all that stuff.
All right, bro,
like,
we get it.
yeah.
You worked with
that
Lil
era.
Wayne.
So that era, like
kidding.
2007, I was interning at I was interning at Jive. I was interning
Jive
for,
Records, yeah.
for fucking Aunt Rich and
Oh,
Dave
yeah.
Lighty. And
That was when
and,
Dave.
like,
It was Mona Scott, Dave Lighty, and then Aunt Rich was on the outside office.
Mona wasn't there anymore. It was the dude who signed Memph Hits, the guy,
Yeah.
the guy who signed Everybody in the Club Get Tipsy. What was that
yeah.
artist's name?
Jaquan.
Jaquan, thank you. So it was the guy who signed Jaquan, and they were like, "Oh,
was
we're
also
gonna,
like someone's
we're gonna
baby
give you a
father.
label." Yeah. So this is like just to paint the picture for you. Like this is like at this time, like everyone really thought at Jive, everyone was really sure that Lil Mama of lip
Yeah,
gloss,
Lil Mama
that
was the
Lil
one.
that of lip gloss fame
gloss
was the
popping.
wave. That was gonna
I
be.
was actually in Dave Lighty's office.
That
with
was gonna
Lil
be-
Mama.
they were convinced.
every day chilling with her. Like
They were convinced that was going to be the
almost
wave.
clipped one down
My
one
my
time.
first priority. This is really to show you where Jive was at the time. My first priority at Jive as an intern was make sure that these Lil Mama lip gloss vinyls go out on time. And my second priority was make sure that this second single by this random artist named T-Pain called "Buy You a Drink" goes out. That was second priority.
they
behind
signed Chris Brown
Lil
later
Mama
on
lip
around
gloss.
that time too.
Chris Brown used to always be in the offices.
I met Chris Brown mad
This
times
is
in
a
that
young
office.
Chris Brown, and he was always.
And I almost clipped
He was
Lil
always
Mama,
a nice
but she
guy.
looked like Bow Wow to me too
changed.
much, so I never
You almost
clipped.
clipped. Wait, Tommy,
Yeah.
please
So
stop
any-
talking. This is a very good story.
Yeah.
You almost clipped Lil
Clipped
Mama,
Lil Mama.
but she looked like Bow Wow too.
Like
was
she
in
was on
there.
a bike and you were in your car.
I was with.
and
I believe I was with like Kite or something. Like my cousin Kite was in the office with me, and yeah, rest in peace, my cousin
Look
Kite.
at that. Zach's a good
Zach
one.
has been with me in the trenches, bro. Niggas don't understand. Fax machine, that ass. But he's black. Zach's black. He's like Zach from the Power Rangers. Like he's black. Yo, so
He's dressing all black.
yeah, facts. Like it's a funeral.
Like the Omen.
Part
yo,
of that,
how is
too.
Zach the White Ranger too?
Now?
he was a
Mad racist now.
That was the
Oh,
Yeah.
Zach's the Black Ranger.
No,
But
now
he was the White Ranger, wasn't he back
no.
then?
Zach was the only black Power Ranger,
and he was a
ever.
Black Ranger
he was the
too.
Black
He was the
Ranger.
Black
also
Ranger.
racist.
Mad racist.
Tommy
that's what
was
I'm saying.
the White Ranger.
Tommy was the Ranger, who was the Green
Who was the
Ranger,
Green Ranger.
and then became the White
Come on, bro.
Ranger.
My
Got it.
Tommy was who was Green Ranger. Like sounds
Bro,
like a
listen,
Jay-Z,
hold on.
Kanye
Not to
West.
digress, but when I was a little kid and they unveiled who the White Ranger was, because they had like Tommy had been off the show for a while and they brought him back,
Facts.
I lost my shits. And
Yeah, I was
the
sick.
level of ecstasy that I felt then has never been
Yeah, it's
replicated.
crazy.
It's never happened
Even
again.
ecstasy, the drug
No,
hasn't done that.
never. I've
Yo,
never been on a
so-
high like that.
Yo, so I almost clipped her. It was me and Kite was chilling in the office, whatever.
Clipped
And
is the
she-
new clapped. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
we
realize
say
that.
clip that.
I mean, I got it. Yeah.
So, yeah, because you know if you hit a joint right, you put her out. So it's just like a blunt. When you clip a blunt, you gotta put her out. Put her out. So look, so we so she needed a ride to where she's at. She's like, because Dave Lighty used to give me rides and whatever I needed. You know what I'm saying? Basically, because he was like, "You're my pride and joy. You're the best rapper I know." Like, his artist was like Bone Crusher, nigga. Like, he was like, "Nigga, you're the nicest, and you're fat." Like, he loved me. So, he's like, "Yo, it's in Manhattan. They're downtown." You know what I'm saying? So he's like, "Yo, you're going uptown." Y'all going uptown, like, you know, towards like the 59th Street Bridge. Why don't you just take the tram and let Lil Mama keep the cab? So in the cab, you know, I'm kind of talking to her, like, she's kind of on my body. Like, Kike keeps telling me, like, yo, she's feeling you. And I was going to bring her with me to my block. But, like, as I looked at her, I just kept seeing like Mike. Like, I kept seeing Little Bow Wow. I kept seeing Little Bow Wow, bro. And I remember telling Kike that, like, yo, and, like, years later, a meme comes out that she's Bow Wow, like that she's actually really is Bow Wow. She's Bow Wow.
Definitely boyish.
She's actually
no, it's Bow Wow.
She's definitely
at
boyish.
night and Lil Mama in the morning.
Yeah.
Yo,
But
yeah,
so
but
okay,
to
so
continue with that
so
story.
so,
Hey, this is an interview with Zach.
When
I'm big homie at Job.
so
I'm chilling at Job.
there was a guy.
comfortable.
So anyway, a guy that used to come hang out all the time at Jive. This dude named Rob Odom. He
my
was
cousin.
his cousin.
Bro, Tuge loves to just spoil stories.
So-
it's like, let the man tell the
But
story.
it's like, I know, because it felt so weird. He's like, this guy named Rob.
So his name was
Odom.
Rob Odom, and Rob was
Yeah,
managing. Rob was managing
touching my dick.
P.D. Pablo at the time, and P.D. Pablo was working on an album, and this is right when he had the record with.
Go on and raise up. Take your shirt
No,
off.
it was after that. Didn't he have a Ciara record?
Ciara.
Oh, no.
Yeah. This is after that.
How you like it? Is that shit? The shit that right now, Sweetie, the Sweetie record now that you would know now, remixed was that original record.
Right. So,
Shalonda.
Yeah, so he had,
Keisha.
exactly. So he had a record at the time, and so I gave him beats for P.D. Pablo, and he was like, he ended up giving the beats to Tuge, and
so you gave beats. You gave J.Cole on real quick.
I gave
just to make it make
Rob
sense.
Odom beats for P.D. Pablo, and Rob Odom, who's Tuge's cousin, ended up also giving the beats to Tuge. And then Tuge, like recorded this record called
Children of
the Corner, which I liked and I thought was good, but it wasn't like it didn't
blow you away off
it didn't
first
blow
listen.
me away off first listen. And then like later Aunt Rich, who was the person I was really interning for, who's like, I don't think works.
Aunt Rich, shout out to Aunt Rich.
Yeah, so shout out to him. I don't think he works in music anymore. I think he's like not worked in music. I think he's in fashion or something now. But he used to work. He was like Dave. I think he used to work for Dave Lighty.
He did.
And got the job as an A&R. And so like he was like a huge Tuge fan. And he played.
Yeah, that's my job.
Played
he
me
used to tell me
all
like,
these
yo, I
like.
promise you, you're gonna make it.
Bro,
He blew me. He played me all these Tuge records and really sold me on Tuge, and then like I ended up going back like to my dorm and listening to Children of the Corner again. After I'd been like kind of sold on Tuge more, and I was like, yeah, this is kind of fire. And I called Jay Cardam and I was like, yo, have you like listened to that record that I sent you? Blah blah blah. And he's like, yo, it's crazy that you're saying this to me because I literally had like just pulled that back up, and I was thinking that this is kind of a crazy record. And
type of artist I am, I'll tell you all
and
the
then
time.
like
it's sleeper
and then
cell. Like, oh, shit.
and then so we ended up connecting with Tuge, and so Tuge came through Jay Cardam's.
I remember it was the
and had
day
a
of like the Puerto Rican Day
and
parade.
Every single beat that Jay played, Tuge had a verse for. And then the funny thing about this record is, so the record is how we met, and then it's also how like Tuge and I ended up having like a bit of a falling out after we first started working
facts.
because this record, Children of a Corner, the beat. Stack Bundles had recorded like right before Stack Bundles died.
Right before he died, he recorded to that beat.
Actually, there you go. There's the Ruddy Rock connection. Ruddy Rock had signed Stack Bundles to an indie deal to do an EP, and Jay was going to do half the EP. So there's Stack recorded 2 records. There's 2 Stack Bundles records out there produced by Jay Cardam. One of them is on the Children of the Corner beat, and at the time. It seemed like they were going to seriously on
they had an album they put together
label
and they were going to
put together a Stack Bundles record, and so we were like, "Listen, man, like Stack Bundles is dead. You got a million. We've got
respect for
we've
him.
got
You
a
know
million.
me. I'm like, nigga,
we've got a million.
I remember saying some foul shit. And I feel bad.
We got a million hot records.
Stack, I was like, nigga, stacked his bundles already. Nigga, that shit is over. Like I was on some ignorant.
I mean,
shit.
you were.
Like,
I mean, it's whatever. You were 20 years. You were 20 years old.
20 and ignorant.
And like, yeah, you were 20 years old, but like it was like
Sorry,
a silly thing, like but yeah.
let me say this though,
But we kind of fake had a fallout about that because I was really tight. Like, nigga, fuck that. That nigga dead. Like,
Let me-
shit out.
Well, it's because Storm was really tight about it.
Storm was more tight, and like Monster and all these niggas, they was sick.
The
like,
hood people were
fuck
tight.
out of here, nigga. This shit is fire, nigga. Fuck you, me, nigga. Fuck that white nigga. We gonna take this beat down. That nigga.
Yeah, they thought Zach was a pushover.
Till Zach pulled up.
Yo,
I'm
but
like,
but
I don't
but
care,
I
man.
do
I'm
want to
keeping
say
the
this.
beat.
I do want to say this, and then I want to fast track a little bit. But
Hold on. Before you go there, that album never came out ever.
It didn't come
Niggas
out.
did not sing the light of day of that album. They
What,
should have let me
the
keep
Stack
the beat and
Bundles
put it
joint?
out. 'cause it
You
never
did keep
went
you did put it out though.
You did put it out,
on your
yeah.
Green Lantern mixtape. Yeah.
yeah, you put it out.
Facts. Shout out to
Yeah.
Green
But I
Lantern,
do
too.
remember when we were like 17, 18, and I'm assuming this is the same. This is tying to the story with like Rob taking beats from his or he wasn't interning, right? He was actually working at Jive.
He just
Rob was
basically
just was just friends with Dave Lighty.
Okay,
but
either way.
Dave Lighty was just on my
Okay,
air bubbles and Buster.
either way, but my point-
Rob was
my
not
point
the,
is-
not the bumper sticker. Rob was managing Petey Pablo, so when he got those beats, he gave him to Petey Pablo and me.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
nigga, do
But
what
that
you
was
see
my
what you
point.
do.
I remember
Yeah.
being 17 years old, 18 years old, and then Tuge always coming back to the neighborhood. We would chill in his room. He would he'd have like stacks of beat CDs. And
Facts.
this is when beats were all exclusively on CDs.
Dangerous
Bro,
LLCs.
we're talking about we're talking
Midi Mafia,
high tech
Yeah.
beats.
high tech.
I'm
bro.
like, yo, I didn't understand this, and I thought he was lying because, like, you know, whatever. Tuge's known to exaggerate a little
make
bit.
a story crazier than what it is.
Tugisms, let's just say.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how the fuck? This is bullshit. This is an industry beat.
Nigga
You
has
got
a
it. somewhere-
high tech beat right
Yeah,
there.
how do you have this? It didn't make sense to me.
That song's fire. Actually, Get Rich Dodge.
And then you did a song to a high tech beat at like
what
fucking
you
18 years old.
Right, facts and
Yeah.
shit. Had
Anyway.
verses with Buster and all of that shit.
So Zach, we connect through me working with Tuge, doing
Yeah.
music videos. I end up being a part of everything because it makes sense, right? You're putting out albums and
Yeah.
you need videos, you need visuals. Tuge needed visuals. It all kind of came together. But I want to
Hold on, and Jay Cardin became my best friend in the whole entire world, my nigga. Let's put that.
Yeah.
Like, Jay Cardin was my jada.
Yeah, Zach's gonna go to
You
the
can
bathroom.
say it on the mic. You don't have to
Yeah,
go like
Zach's
this.
gonna go to the bathroom.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Can I go to the little girl's room?
You can sit too if you want, you woman.
Yeah, and like Jay Cardin became my jada. Like I was going, yeah, just put your joint between your joint and just pee down the jaw. Yo, so Jay Cardin became my jada. Like me and Jay Cardin was together every single day of every hour, like for hours, like every day, bro. Like,
Yeah, and you guys were
This is my
each
best
other's.
friend in
You
the
were
whole
each
world. I
other's
love
worst
Jay Cardin.
nightmare because instead of
Because
working,
instead of work, bro, we would have so much fun.
Yeah.
We would never get work done. Dan would be like, yo, no. I'm coming with your Jay's crib or someone's coming with you. Like, y'all got to work. Like, and then it came to the point where y'all would come with us. We'd still just end up doing some.
I remember the
Retarded
first.
shit.
I remember the first, and Zach,
'Cause we're just alike,
Zach
bro.
can pick up on this when he gets back. But I remember the first video project that Zach reached out to me about. Like after we had already met, he knew I knew how to edit and do video stuff. He hits me up and he goes,
First of all, I put your whole name out there. Like, Dan is the God. Y'all niggas need to be
"Yeah,"
with
and
Dan.
I was very trash
Give
back
Dan
then.
that,
I was
yeah.
literally trash.
Yeah, but I geeked it good.
But you did. But peep though. So then Zach goes. He hits me up because Zach's a phone person. He's
Yeah,
very
and he's a
phone.
3-hour phone
He's
person.
a 3-hour phone call.
Sounds like an
person.
operator when he calls you too.
He
My mother
calls me.
always said
He
that.
calls me and he goes, "Yo, I really want you to." He's like, "Yo, it's gonna be a good opportunity for you." And at the time, it sounded like a good opportunity, but he wanted me to edit videos for Dice Music TV, which was like him trying to venture into the YouTube space with the artists that he had on deck. That he had come through to Jay's house. He had exclusive interviews with J.Cole, things like that.
I remember French
Montana,
yeah.
all sorts of people, literally just chilling. He fell in the bathroom.
he fell in the toilet.
Literally just he fell in the toilet.
Yeah.
Zach's a tiny boy.
He's a little bit of a-
So he goes, "Yeah, I want you to edit these videos. It'll be a good look for you. To probably get tons of views on YouTube." And I did these interviews for him or edited these videos that he shot on. Like, remember when there was Zach? What was that called? A flip phone? Oh no, what was that?
Flip cam.
What was that? Flip cam,
Flip
right?
cam, right?
Flip cam, yes. Zach had the flip cam he was doing the video interviews on Jay Cardin's couch.
Maybe I'm very in the lead there. That was probably the biggest thing I ever did. Was I was like the first person to interview J. Cole on camera.
That's a fact.
Before Karen Civil, before anybody.
Yeah,
I
true.
interviewed J. Cole.
Right, but
drunk
that
as shit
went
at Jay
from here
Cardin's
to
crib.
it went from here to nowhere.
Did you
right?
dry your pants from when you fell in the toilet just now, or are you good?
Nah, they're soaked.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you good. Don't worry. You can sleep over, bro.
Yeah, I got pants. They're not
Yeah,
your
we got-
size, but I got pants.
You got pajama pants, all of that.
But yeah, man. So that was crazy. Like I remember, I look back at some of the stuff that we did, and I just I kind of laugh at it because I'm just like, man, this was like the early beginnings when we were just so excited, bro. Like the level of energy that we had when we were working on those albums.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm still excited, and I still have that same energy.
Well, I am, but there's maturity
it's the
behind.
gray in y'all niggas.
It's still no, but there's maturity behind. There's maturity behind what we do now. It was those are the early stages of like little
we
kid,
would do it
just
without thinking, just
like
going.
excitement to be there with J.Cole, whoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it's like you know better. You know that it's not like written in stone. Like just because you do something, that means it's like you're gonna pop.
And also, but you know, like in a way, kind of the opposite too, right? Because like literally, like had J. Cole at Jay Cardam's crib for like 3 hours, like interviewing him, mad comfortable, nothing. He was nobody. And like now I look at that and I think to myself, like, damn, like, you know, if I'd known what he was gonna become.
It's like Kanye West was nobody.
But all I'm saying, and this is, and I want to say this.
Not that I didn't.
I want to say this to kind of tie into like an ideology and a mentality that people have today. Is like people don't really understand like the moment in time that you occupy, right? Like if someone were to just listen to the accolades and the resume and the things that we just talked about, they'd be like, holy shit, man, these guys are pretty successful. But the truth of the matter is, like, these things are just a flash in the pan, right? It's lightning in a bottle and it doesn't last forever. And I don't think the youth of today realize that. Like, I think people pat themselves on the back for the smallest wins, and they think that that's going to take them to through the rest of their life.
I think now it's easier. So I'm not the
but I think that's the problem with artistry nowadays.
Yeah.
Like these rappers are they put out one single and it does really well, or it gets X amount of buzz, but then they're forgotten about. They're one hit wonders, or they never really pop in any real capacity.
It's also
like you have to move the goalpost.
Let
right?
that nigga talk, bro.
But real quick, you have to move the goalpost, don't you? When it's like everyone's able to reach this level of success, so the level of success that it takes to really be successful has to change. The definition changes, right?
But I think that may have always existed. Like it just may have been different, like in different mediums, like becoming a mixtape artist or like being a blog popular. And then like, or like having one record now, like, I think like what's kind of interesting about like, and, you know, a little sad about the time that like I like worked in music or like thrived in music was like, you know, it was kind of in this no man's land era between, you know, like CD and streaming, right? Like the music that we worked on, all the big artists that we work with, doesn't exist anywhere because like it didn't officially come out on a CD and it didn't officially come out on streaming, which is like now. It was this mixtape era. And like I read this really interview and really kind of like crazy interview and kind of sad interview with DJ Drama. We're talking about basically how like this guy's greatest accomplishments, DJ Drama, like a lot of his accomplishments with Lil Wayne are like not recorded in history because they all happened in this vacuum era between 2004 and 2014. This 10-year era of like audio, you know, websites and blogs that like music just went into the ether. You know what I mean? It didn't. It doesn't exist anywhere. You know,
It went into the word you taught Nas. Word. Right. I mean, I'm one of those artists that I was in that era too. You know what I'm saying? So I watched that happen to me as well.
Totally. Like you have a mixtape with Green. You did a mixtape that with Green Lantern that has features all over it with Busta, all these records. These songs don't exist anywhere.
Facts some shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. Other than your hard drive, so
it's like the Bermuda Triangle.
Time later.
It's the Bermuda Triangle of hip hop. Like it's just lost, man. And and you can talk about it, and it sounds fucking amazing. Like these stories
like
you've told.
Like Lil Wayne, right? Lil Wayne is one of the best rappers of all time, and in my personal opinion, his best music doesn't exist anywhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like all the music he made between Carter 2 and Carter 3, all these mixtapes, Dedication 1, 2, Drought, the Drought is Over, all these records,
that's the best
they exist nowhere. Dat Piff is where they exist. They exist if you know someone who has those songs. You know?
That's so true. But I mean, which also, for us as hip-hop heads, that shit is like magical. You know what I'm saying? When a nigga has that. Like, yo, you know what I got? I got this. You know what I'm saying? Like how we're talking about, like, yo, I got Wayne takes from
you got the
highlight a player that you can't hear. Exactly. Like shit like that makes us like mystical legends. Like we're different type of gods.
You got the version of ignorant shit with 3 Jay Z verses and no Beanie Siegel.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you got the
I like being us. You know what I'm saying? I like our era.
Yeah. So Zach, let me ask you about the way that you consume music nowadays, right? Like what are your thoughts on hip hop? Do you enjoy it to this day? And just what are your thoughts on how the game has changed since you've been in it?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. Like, I think, like, I don't really think, like, it's it's gotten to like a bad place. I think like, I mean, you know, look, I think like it's not unlike television or like Instagram. Like people like trash. You know what I mean? Because it's humanizing. You know what I mean? And it like makes you feel like there are people like they're out you, right? Like you
can
relate
relate
out
to
there who are like you.
More,
right?
It's more relatable.
So like that explains like, you know, reality television. That explains this like Instagram culture of like creating all this trash content for other people to latch onto. And like that is what it is with music too. It's like this SoundCloud era, this mumble rap era. It's all about that. It's all about like artists who sound amateur. You know what I mean?
It's like,
and like,
not
and
to cut you
like
off, but it's like,
people
yo,
like that.
Yeah, they like I could have did that factor. Damn, I could do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It makes it actually more relatable because it's like, damn, yo, I could have did that shit in my bathroom.
I agree.
Typically, those guys don't stick around. Though.
Yeah, but
typically,
they don't,
like,
and they've been around since our era too.
Typically,
you know
like if you look at like if you think about who the like elite artists of this time are, though, they are people with like very good quality control. Like if you talk about like the Drakes, the Kendrick
and the
Lamars,
J. Cole's and
J.
shit
Cole,
like that.
Chance the Rapper,
Yeah.
And then even if you take it out of like the more like
mainstream
lyrical,
and take it to like.
Oh no, I was thinking even if you take it out of like a lyrical place, even if you take it to like people like
Travis Scott,
Future, Travis Scott, like they're still like
polished and
they're really polished. They sound pro.
and they didn't just come out of nowhere. They've been around forever. They've been through our era and to this era.
Yeah, I just saw this online the other day.
Like Travis Scott was a slave in Kanye's studio for
Cardi
years.
B is a great example, right? Like, so like Cardi B is like, and I like Cardi B, right? But like Cardi B is amateur sounding. Cardi B is objectively less talented than Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj sounds like a polished professional rapper. She can sing. She sounds like a pro. Cardi B does not sound like a pro. She sounds like someone that you know in real life,
which makes you like her more. But you know, and also Cardi B has other things that add to her package.
Of course, totally.
You know, she was popping before she was popping.
1,000,000%. She's all the things that in the way that like Nicki Minaj is so curated and not and unaccessible.
She's the opposite.
Uncurated.
No, but that's the wrong approach. That's an archaic approach, right? Because what you're saying when Cardi B's persona and her as an artist is an extension of the social media culture that we live in. Like because social media makes it accessible and celebrities feel humanized and you can connect with them in certain ways, that has to be reflected in their music as well. Like there can't be a discrepancy between the way they are on social media, but then their music sounds like, you know, it just doesn't make sense. Like there's too much of a difference there. So
and it works for some people and it doesn't work.
So it really is a byproduct of social media and the internet. Because it created this landscape that now you have to play the part. You have to be that way.
Yeah, also one thing I like also too is that labels are like beaten now. You know what I'm saying, at their game most of the time with independent artists. You know what I'm saying? Like now there's so many outlets and there's so many ways to put your music out yourself and to do the things the labels are doing. Dude, so many distribution deals.
How about the fact?
There's so much shit.
But they're back they're like back in like the form of like marketing agencies, right? They're like what's that name of that agency that has like Anderson .Paak and like all those people like they're all like, you know, there's gatekeepers still. Like you can just give the music directly to the people. I think like, you know, actually to your point, like I think that's kind of like the pros and cons of it, right? Like the con is like that we live in this era of kind of like trashy music. Yeah. But to say that that's bad is to imply that like when we lived in this prior era there were all these curators, that all those curators were like the people with the best taste in music. That like in a time when you only heard artists who got signed to a label, that like the filter was like the best filter. Like you heard the best.
Well,
it's really not true.
That's not true.
I've said this to Tuge before, and I maintain this position. It's like, how do you judge art at the end of the day? That's the most subjective thing in the world. You can't sit around and say there's a group of elite people that know what's what and what's great.
So true.
Like it really doesn't matter. It's about how it appeals to you as a consumer. So this era where the doors are wide open, the con is that the game is diluted, but the pro is that if you search through the hate long enough, you'll find some needles. And the top of the game, I believe that the top of the game is as good as it's ever been. Like the top of the game, if you isolate for the top, is amazing. There's some really good fucking music out there.
I agree. I think there's a lot of good R&B.
Because rap evolves, like hip hop evolves.
But it's not. I mean, there's also a lot of there's more copycat type shit than there ever was in hip hop, though. You know what I'm saying?
Because everything is at your finger. You see everything
But
everybody
it's like
does.
you don't got an Old Dirty Bastard, you don't got a DMX, you don't have like a Busta Rhymes, you don't have like these people. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have those out of the box type artists.
But dude,
like that.
all it means is it becomes.
And if you do, they've been around.
All it
You know
means
what
to
I'm
me,
saying?
all it means to me as a consumer is that's because the doors are like the barrier to
floodgates
entry,
are open,
the floodgates
anyone
are
can come
open.
out.
It makes it so there's more competition and the cream rises to the top when there's more
And you
competition.
do have like outliers.
You have to be
like
better.
you do have people like, you know, like this is a guy whose music I don't listen to, but you do have like Post Malone, who's like a character and has like you know,
but he's
his music's great.
I mean, his
And he
music's
has-
fire though. He's more of like
but he's a
but
different type of artist.
He's like a Busta. You know what I mean? Like not in
can
not
never
in
say
not
that.
in like the way he raps, but he's like a out of the box.
Yeah, he's
character.
an anomaly in his time.
You know what I mean? And like yeah, exactly.
but like he did White Iverson, and now he's doing fucking like.
And just-
I think
and-
with him more,
yeah.
we're just watching him grow as an artist.
and he's like a
Also
style
himself.
icon, the way Busta
but real
was,
quick,
you
but
know?
also what it means is because there's so many players in the game, you have to elevate your creativity in order to stand out. So like somebody like Post Malone can sing, rap, you know, do all types of odd shit, and people. It's like a different genre of music. It's not even rap anymore. But he had to do that, and it also leads me to the second point, which is like the artists of today can record themselves. They can
Mix their
produce their
shit,
own
produce
music.
their
They can
own
record
music.
themselves.
Shout out
they
to
can
Travis.
mix their own shit. They can even do their own videos, like on a
Yeah.
low level. Like it's really interesting how much people have had to evolve and learn in order to be competitive in
Yeah.
today's market.
And that's
Yeah.
what I like though, that everyone's more hands on and
Yeah.
it's accepted, and people really are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Gravitating to that shit.
Yeah, it's wild, man, and it's just it's a huge step in a different direction from what it was
Totally.
8 years ago. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
it's
I can
so
talk about
insane.
this forever. I don't want to like.
I mean, you can
Yeah.
say whatever you got to say.
No,
Zach.
I mean, I don't have anything specific to say. I just mean like I could like you know like it's like a never end. It's a bottomless pit of like you know I can talk about hip hop the entire time.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm happy to. I just you know I don't want to like.
but we should also make the segue into today's Zach right now.
Yeah,
Zach.
well, Zach of today, which is very important to note,
Which is also I'm just as happy about the person you are today as you were then.
Zach of today, Zach
You know
of
what I'm saying? You're
2019.
still, you know what I mean? You're still in the
Zach,
industry, you're still
Zach
creative,
of 20,
you're still
Zach of 2019.
innovative type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Zach of 2019 is a married man.
married man.
Yes.
He works in like I was gonna say is that the tech industry? I don't even know what industry.
Yeah, I
you
work in
would-
like internet tech. Yeah,
internet tech industry, right? You work for a company called DuckDuckGo.
Yeah, so I work for a company called DuckDuckGo. We, you know, primarily we're a private search engine, so we're a search engine like Google, except unlike Google, we don't track you and follow you around the internet, and we don't save your data every search that you do. So we have some other products.
for-
I don't think people understand
I'll
how
keep you
important
private.
that
Yeah,
is.
for the
though.
less informed
I'll-
people,
How important
because
that-
here was my trajectory. And Zach, in full disclosure, Zach is a good friend of both of us.
My friend first,
Your friend for I was like the best man at his wedding though. So I don't
only
know.
because I didn't come.
Yeah, well, is that
I couldn't
what it
make
was?
it. Yeah, I
Is
was
it because
messing
Tuk didn't come? You wanted him to do the speech?
I wanted Tuge to do the speech.
Yeah, man.
I apologize for not making it too, bro. It's this little guy.
Zach
over
did
here.
just
Shit got
get. She
different.
just got married. He just got married this past summer in
And
July.
they met on
July.
ChristianMingle.com, so that's a successful site.
Yeah, when Zach's Jewish and she's Hindu. So.
I mean, JewishMingle.com. I'm bugging.
JewishMingle.com.
I'm bugging.
She's Hindu, but it's a Jew chaser.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when you first told me about data privacy and what you did for a living,
Sure.
it kind of it stuck out to me, and it wasn't, it kind of intrigued me because I think the layman understanding of data privacy or the internet or Google or Facebook tracking you and having your information, like the layman person would be like, well, whatever. All it is them knowing what I do online, so then they can then market things to me that they think I would like, which is fine by me because better products, are visible to me.
Yeah, but it's
but
way
why?
more
But it's more
enormous
than that.
than
It's
that.
deeper than that, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's a couple of things. So, Google and Facebook are, even though these seem like very different companies, they're essentially a duopoly in the advertising world. They control almost all of the advertising online. Even when you're not on Facebook or you're not on Google, they have cookies or trackers on those websites that are connecting everything that you do back between all of their products. So, at any given time, if you're signed into Google, which you probably are, either through email or through Google Maps or through your...
The police can come to your door and knock on it right now.
Through your Waze profile, they're triangulating all of this data. So they're taking like every search you've ever done. They're reading your emails in Gmail. They're looking at everywhere you've ever been on Google Maps. They're looking at everywhere you've ever been on Waze, and they're triangulating all of this and rounding you out as a person, as a profile. And then what they're doing is, in their ad platforms, they allow anyone to bid on people like you, and this is how you get these hyper targeted ads where you consider buying socks on a Tuesday, and then for the next month you get ads about socks, and you're like, why am I getting ads about socks? And it's so it's so constant and it's so ubiquitous in your life that people think that their phones are listening to them. Right. And I haven't seen anything definitive that like your phones are actually listening to you, but I think the larger point is that your phones don't need to listen to you because you leave enough of a footprint online everywhere you go. I think a big part of the problem here is that people can't tease out the difference between security and privacy. They think to themselves, well, if I have security, why do I need privacy? And I think like at the end of the day, like security is a bit of a fallacy, right? Like you don't know that you need to build a stronger wall until someone knocks down what people say is the strongest wall, and then you need to build a bigger one. So things like Cambridge Analytica, these leaks like Facebook leaks, these big leaks, they're gonna continue to happen. They're constantly gonna happen. The only way to be private online is to not have these companies have huge swaths of your information, and there's a lot of reasons not to let them have that information, right? So one is like the hyper targeted ads. Another thing is like the filter bubble. If the three of us search something different, search the same exact thing on Google, we're gonna get completely different results. You're gonna get results based on what Google thinks you want to see. Yeah, that's the first thing. And then that like silos people, and it makes you end up living in a world where you're
fed different information,
fed different truths.
Like it's a degree of difference, but then you keep creating degrees, and then you're farther away from the truth than the next. And
it also keeps you in a bubble as to where you can actually experience more, different things. You know what I'm saying, and learn different things. You know what I'm saying. And
saving everything. This is like what the Edward Snowden stuff was about. The NSA. The government. They work directly with Google. They work directly with Facebook. They work with these companies, and they got everything on you. And there's no reason. Your search histories get subpoenaed all the time in court. This happens hundreds of times a year.
Facts.
And on top of it, another I think important reason is it's a bad deal. It's really a bad deal. All your data, everything about you, everything that you do online, all your personal information is worth a few bucks. At the end of the day, in terms of bidding on this, and it's crazy the type of stuff.
So a weird guy could just see my penis pics right now if he just pays.
Anyone in marketing knows this. Anyone in marketing knows you can I can go into Google right now and I can upload a list of 100 email addresses and ask for a lookalike audience, and they'll spit out all this other targeting based on those people. And what do you think happens to those email addresses? They get slurped up into Google's system, and they connect them with it's a crazy game. And I think what's exciting now is that you're having this moment in culture and in politics where people are starting to realize that this is bullshit, and you shouldn't have to sell yourself like this.
To your point, one thing that you had told me in the past that I found alarming and I never even thought about is selling yourself. Are you even the one selling yourself? I mean, you've mentioned to me about signing the terms and conditions or just checking it off when you create a Facebook account, and essentially what it's saying is that your data can then be sold by them to marketers, right?
Well, the important distinction is that Facebook and Google, and they milk this when they testify in front of Senate and stuff like that. They don't sell your data. What they do is they have a marketplace that enables other people to bid on your data. So they don't literally make the sale, but they like enable it. Like it's basically like Napster doesn't pirate music. They just like have the technology that enables people to do it.
Yeah, but either way, it's your online identity. So why is it for someone else?
Yeah, it's like someone looking in the window at your house right now.
Yeah,
you know, and it's funny, and we literally say that. We say getting privacy online should be as simple as closing the blinds.
Yes.
Right. Is that your
glad that I should, I'm glad that I should be hired at DuckDuckGo.
That's copy. That
Tuge needs a job, Zach.
Yeah, like come on, don't play with me like that.
Yeah, that's copy that we should use.
But so then, all right. So this is the world you inhabit now, Zach. So, but and how the hell did you end up here? Like, so music and hip hop and all of these things. And Talib
someone
Kweli
stole all of Jay Carter's beats and all of Zach's raps.
I mean, like, so like
said,
you know, like,
revenge.
I like the thing is, with music and between music and one step we missed in the middle is I used to work for Damon John, one of the
we forgot about my man Shark.
No, I have written. Sorry. Wait, before I sound incompetent, I have it says pivot to working in television for Damon John.
Right.
I have it written down. I just things go in different directions. You got to be malleable.
I mean, honestly, I don't really get it. We don't really have to talk about that.
But hey, hold on. I worked with you there too. So let's remember that Zach and I, after the music business, we pivoted into the TV and film world, and we tried to do things in that nature. And we worked for Damon John, the Shark, for a while.
We're for Damon John.
Zach for longer than I. Zach for longer than I.
So you didn't shoot the movie where the sharks were flying in the air. And
Sharknado 2 was on the set with Damon. Was on the set of Sharknado 2.
Terrible.
Met Pepper from Salt and Pepper. Who's also in the movie. So no. So like so working with Damon, he wanted to produce reality TV shows. We sold a show to E! We sold a show to NBC. Neither of them got picked up. But the through line in music to TV to DuckDuckGo is marketing. So like in music, I was like doing email marketing. I was doing some of the first like display marketing. You know, I did like all of French Montana's web marketing. You know, like I was like the go between French and Q from Rest in Peace from World Star.
You're doing a lot of rest in pieces, bro.
A lot of rest in pieces.
You're trying to get some hood points.
The goons and
I'm trying to get some goon points. Yeah, exactly. So and then with Damon, it was like brand marketing. And then and then what at DuckDuckGo I do I'm director of user acquisition. I do growth marketing. So it's basically just like trying to, grow as a company, gain more users.
Yeah, I'm using that from now on, though. I'm not using Google and none of that shit. I'm using
DuckDuckGo. You can download it on your phone. Yeah, go for it.
You don't even need to download it. You can go into your settings of Chrome or Safari and just change your search engine to DuckDuckGo. It's right in your Safari settings.
Yo, what type of niggas you not riding with my man?
If you have an iPhone,
I use DuckDuckGo.
If you have an iPhone, you go into your settings, Safari, search engine, and it's right there.
Yo, all my jotters out there, all my jotters, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Y'all getting money on the block. I'm talking about my dudes that when they talking, they be like, yo, flip your phone over. Yo, let me holler at you. Like,
yeah, but the camera's right on them.
Put your phone under the car. Like, yo, put your phone outside the car. Hop in the car. Yo, listen, man, let me talk to you. Like, all y'all dudes that think you're Pablo and you're selling nickel bags, listen, bro. Download DuckDuckGo.
How about this?
Sure
how about instead? How about this?
Log into your Google account and then look and log into your Google account. You do it all the time when you log into Gmail. Log into your Google account and you take a look at your own search history. They have literally everything you have ever searched, everywhere you have ever been. If you typed it into Google Maps, forever, it's all in there.
Also, to Tuge's Jadas, just another word of advice. You don't think that talking about bricks of cocaine is what's getting you knocked. It's Googling what to do with a brick of cocaine.
Yes, it's Googling cooking coke for dummies.
And so Dan
it's when you go to make that sale on your GPS that's also connected to Google. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. But Dan is like a power user because he he doesn't just use a search engine. He actually uses our mobile app. So on top of the search engine,
user.
So we have a mobile app, like a full browser on mobile and iOS desk or Android, and then we have an extension which you can add to your browser on desktop.
I use y'all GPS. I use DuckDuckGo GPS.
So
it brings me around mad duck paths though, like where ducks be at.
So like if you use that tool, we actually block ad trackers on other websites. It keeps you more secure.
It's kind of fly too. My favorite feature on DuckDuckGo is that there's a clear search like button or like little clicker thing.
Clears cookies, everything.
Clears all that, and what it does is just sends a whole flame through your screen. It goes, and
That's fire.
It just deletes everything. Yeah.
Yo, so did y'all want to use DuckDuckGoose? But we was like, nah, we can't put the goose in
Is that
there.
an iPhone?
Nah, this is Android. Of course, it's an iPhone. Nigga,
All right,
look
go into. I'm gonna show you just right now. Go into your settings.
Oh, he's getting all he's going in.
Because I
Right
want
now. Y'all better give him a promotion for this, right?
Go into settings.
He's angling for the.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
Dude, I want you to by accident see a naked picture of me.
Showing you how easy it is.
All right,
Go into
so
your settings.
This is it, and we're gonna wrap this up after this.
Going to Safari. Hold on, where's my Safari at?
It's near the top.
At the top.
You know, I never do this stuff here.
He doesn't even know this existed.
Yeah, I didn't even know that I had a Where do you see Safari there? Because I don't see it. I only see Nicki
Go to your
Minaj's
apps.
boyfriend.
You're not up to your apps yet. Go down. Scroll.
Down a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's at the top.
Oh, right here. All right,
Safari.
Boom. Now go into search engine.
It's Google. You're right.
DuckDuckGo.
Ooh, my man Duck is out
He's
here.
out
I don't even
there.
know. It's
Yo,
already
look,
in
y'all
your
peep.
phone.
Yo, zoom in, Angie. Let's
How many M's did y'all pay for that?
Fax machine?
A lot of M's.
But
were
yo,
made.
you know, I'm my nigga. You know, I'm a street dude. So like, this type of shit I like. Like my dude is DuckDuckGo. Like you know what I'm saying? I'll promote this shit. Like
Yeah, of
DuckDuckGo is
course.
my guy. Like we Lydia.
Zach, this whole time you've been marketing for DuckDuckGo. You didn't realize all you gotta do is market to the hood.
All you gotta do is
they
tell
need
me.
it the most. They need
For
it
real,
the most.
for real. Like I'm gonna do a viral video about it, and we're Lydia after that. You know
Zach's
what I'm
like,
saying?
Zach shake his head like, no.
No, I mean, I think like it's facts. You know, it's so funny because Chuck Creekmer, one of the founders of all hip hop, is like a big DuckDuckGo guy, and like I've said to him all the time, I'm like, listen, man, let's figure. I'd love to because he's like hip hop, digital hip hop marketing guru guy. Like I think like the hip hop world, would love. I mean, I don't understand internet privacy and I also think like internet privacy, the ill shit about it is like internet privacy is like a real unifying issue. Like whether you're liberal, whether you're conservative, everyone wants to have internet privacy. Like some of our most vocal users are on both sides of the aisle. When our founder went to testify at the Senate Judiciary Committee, everyone from not John McCain, everyone from
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Everyone,
Another recipe.
from
What are you, the Sixth Sense? The kid from Sixth Sense?
from Dick Durbin, who's like a OG, liberal to the governor of Mississippi, whose name I'm forgetting right now.
Using a lot of expensive names out here and expensive words,
Listen,
baby.
they're all-
$10 words here, Zach.
Like everyone can unify on this issue, everyone from we've had Amy Klobuchar, the Democratic.
I mean,
I don't know that.
She talk about
I
us.
feel you.
We've had Rush Limbaugh.
But I'm gonna keep it
talk
with you.
about us,
Even though you're not to come at no government officials, even though you're naming a lot of them, I mean, people that are against the government and against people taking their information and all that. Those are the people that would love something like this. Conspiracy, the dude that's conspiracy theory god, Malcolm X.
But the fact is, you don't even at the end of the day, and no one should
feel
want
that way, period.
Yeah.
But a lot of the world is it's too much. I'll just stick with Google. I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, but it's
not even if you're doing anything wrong.
Wait,
It's about your right.
Hold on, stay right here. Stay right here for 1 second. I know.
It's about your right to your privacy.
But
Everyone has their right. You know what I'm saying?
And the truth to the ease of it was just displayed. Zach just showed you. You can go on your mobile
simple,
device, scroll down to
yeah.
your Safari, go and create your search engine. And it doesn't have to be Google.
If you use Chrome, you just go into your settings and you can
Easy.
It's right there in
So
Chrome.
so people who are stuck in their ways and think it's too difficult to do things can do it in a snap of their fingers. That's the whole point.
But why am I still controlled by Google, my man?
I mean, look, you're looking at porn first.
That's the first thing that pops up when you go on my phone. It's either porn or music.
I'm your eyes. I'm eagle eyes. I know exactly what you look at.
So right now, shouldn't I be going when I go here? Shouldn't it be DuckDuckGo though in my Safari?
All right,
You just gotta do a search. If you already switched to DuckDuckGo, just do a search and it'll be
guys. Let's wrap this up before we make Zach do something that gets him fired. Good. Tuge, you got a lot of porn. A bunch of porn tabs are open.
Porn site, bro.
How many tabs?
That wasn't porn. That was DistroKid. That was mad other shit, bro.
Okay.
Oh no, it was a porno called Disco Kid.
It was Dick Stroke Kid.
Dick Stroke Kid.
Yo, Zach, thank you for coming through, man. I know my crib is far. You're a Manhattan kid, and I had you all the way on Queens. Zach Ubered here, by the way, in the middle at 3 p.m. He Ubers here. Like
when Uber costs $1,000 more
like, dude,
than what it
take
cost.
the train.
I took a lift.
It's
Yo,
before,
first of all,
whatever.
bro, watch your mouth with the take the train. My man works for DuckDuckGo, bro.
No.
Don't ever tell my man
Well,
to take the train.
the first thing
he
I
wants the privacy of his travel as
The
well.
first thing I said to Zach when he pulled up is like, that's some money making shit, man. For you to pull up to microbit and Uber at 3 p.m.
I do
all
that.
the way from Manhattan.
Well, you know I do that.
That's some money making shit,
And I'm the brokest
bro.
nigga you
You're
know
in a
when I
different
do
tax
that.
bracket, kiddo.
Yeah, I mean,
Zach, thank you. Thank you for hitting us
you.
with your knowledge.
yo, I
Thank
appreciate
you
you,
for
Flea
having
God, and
Of course.
You're back in the music
You want to
world
shout
now.
out your handle
On Instagram?
on anything?
Oh, it's
whatever you want to shout
on,
out.
on Instagram
Shout
and
out?
Twitter, but I don't really tweet. But I'd like to start getting back to that.
ahead.
It's Zack LOOK
It's
ITSZACK. Look, it's
not
Zack.
one of those weirdos that spells it with an H.
yeah, and he doesn't. By the way, he doesn't go to the app store to download his apps. He downloads it through DuckDuckGo online.
All right, and shout out to 90. I'm sure you want to shout out
Shout
your
out to
wife.
90, of course, my wife. Yeah.
Yo, shout out wifey Flea. What a dinner to wifey. I'll meet you soon.
She's
expecting?
No, she's not expecting.
Oh, God. I thought you were going to make an announcement.
Am I in DuckDuckGo right
She's
now?
probably
Like, I'm
just
confused.
coming home from work right now. I don't know. I wanted her to be here, but she doesn't fuck with you guys. So.
Nah, I get it. Oh, shit, Zach cursed. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
He's fired.
Thanks for tuning in. And I'm just drop the theme song. I'm going to let everybody know.
Oh, yeah, drop the theme song.
Shout out to Jay Carter one last time.
Yo, shout out my nigga Jay Carter. Flea.
So good night, and was Russell Simmons?
Shalom.
Love you, Jay Carter.
Shalom.
What
I
did
don't-
Russell
what do you
Simmons
want to
say?
say?
Good night, and
I don't care.
And rush card? I don't know.
and get your rush card.
Make sure you rush out of here like my card.
All right, I should have cut this off a long time ago. All right.
Good night and
Take
good luck.
care.
He does Indian cross with bananas.
I told my father that my podcast is going live. He said, why? There ain't much you really know about life. Besides, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. I said, you're right, I shit on niggas most of the time. And you can't just know every generation cause you're old and wise. Had to teach them how they shoes is tight. They couldn't walk in mine. My friends need a role model. I think I'll play that role just fine. My friends need a role model. I think I'll play that role just fine. Cause these young niggas ain't got no morals and codes, and hoes is turning to niggas and niggas is turning to hoes. You can tell by their clothes and life getting shorter, they learning to grow. I'm proud, but I'm disappointed on both. I'm lifting the finger, ain't pointing it though. Gun laws got schools doing shooting drills while kids shooting drill videos on their phones like, oh, I think they want someone. I think they want someone to help them speak blunt without talking about love and bud. To help them to a pill and not the one that's drugs. Somewhere to lean, not just a styrofoam double cup. My friends need a role model. I think I'll play that role just fine. My friends need a role model. I think I'll play that role just fine. My friends need a role model. I think I'll play that role just fine. My friends need a role model. I think I'll play that role just fine. My friends need a role model. Need a role model. My friends think play that role just fine. My friends think play that role just fine. My friends need a role model. Need a role model. My friends think play that role just fine. My friends think play that role just fine.